Revenant. It was still dark when Charlie was startled awake by the cold. He bolted upright, in the dark. But it wasn't the dark. It wasn't that. It wasn't that he couldn't see. It was something that he couldn't see, because he couldn't see. It was something close and cold. He felt a hand touch his shoulder. The panic stopped his breath as he tried to jerk away, and he couldn't get away. The hand on his shoulder moved down his arm and gripped tighter, pulled at him until another hand closed on his other arm, and Charlie could feel the eyes on him. Charlie could see the eyes. The eyes were gray, but in the darkness everything was blackened and grayed. Breathe. He couldn't breathe. You can breathe. The eyes were gentle. The voice itself was rough, but the tone was gentle. One of the hands let go of him. And then Charlie felt cold fingers brush through his hair. He flinched. Sorry, the other man told him. It was a man, or had been a man. What he was now was sorry. He dropped his hand back to Charlie's arm, held him steady. Revenant. The word was revenant. Revenant was the word they used for bodies that came back, until they figured out what they really were. Breathe. Charlie couldn't. Breathe. Charlie couldn't, but he could see the man. Revenant. Because all the word revenant really meant was that a body had come back. Charlie could feel damp grass under him, and he could see gray eyes and moldering skin, and the strange, stiff way the man's jaw moved as he spoke. There you are. Breathe. He could almost breathe. The man, the revenant, still held him at arm's length, but gentler now. He'd known, of course, that an occupational hazard of being a resurrection man was that you could wind up participating in a resurrection literally, not just figuratively. But Charlie had never worried much about it. You lived to tell the tale or you didn't, and that was that. And finally, he remembered that it had been a warm night, and he realized that the night was probably still warm, that the cold he felt was coming from the revenant. He was also fairly certain that it was only the revenant's hold on him that was keeping him upright. Are you hurt? The revenant asked quietly. Charlie shook his head, and suddenly everything started to spin and lurch, and the revenant swore under his breath. Well, not under his breath, because revenants didn't breathe. Charlie's breaths were shaky, but he was breathing. The revenant was holding on to him tightly again, and after a moment, he again shifted one of his hands to Charlie's hair. But this time Charlie realized what was happening and didn't flinch. He held very still, while the revenant smoothed back the strands matted to his forehead. Should I get you a doctor? The revenant asked, frowning. Charlie laughed. I've got a doctor waiting for me, he said weakly, expecting a body a bit more dead and less decayed than you. He glanced around, careful not to move too quickly. Must have got the wrong grave. No. The revenant looked aside and nodded slightly, lip curling, and Charlie followed his gaze and saw his abandoned shovel and the hole he'd dug up and the corpses still in it. Oh, yes. Just tell me which one you want and I'll get it out for you. You really don't have to. It's the least I can do, the revenant said firmly. He let go of Charlie completely then, slowly, haltingly, but completely. The cold became less severe, though the revenant remained close enough that Charlie still felt chilled. The gray eyes studied him anxiously. You're all right? I think so. Good. It was still dark, and everything in the darkness was more or less gray. The revenant's eyes were more. I really can't thank you enough, he told Charlie. It was nothing. To you. To me. This is everything.